Welcome back to AI Kensia. I'm your host, Valentine Luhunzu. On our last episode, we discussed about how to prepare, the 4 easy steps to prepare for your research project. And today, we want to discuss how to now carry out your research. I am joined by Dr. Magu. He's a senior lecturer from Multimedia University of Kenya. He's a professional in computational chemistry, environmental chemistry, and also analytical chemistry. All these quantified in books and degrees from various universities. And he is also a research working towards making the globe better with different projects he has done in the past. In 2021, he carried out a research on natural products and medicine from various regions in Kenya that were used against the COVID-19 and the SAR. He also did a research in 2019 on antibiotics from different matrices, that is soil, air, and water. Welcome, Dr. Magu. I want you to introduce yourself so that Google doesn't have to sue me.
Okay, thank you. My name is Martin Magu. I work at Multimedia University of Kenya in the Department of Chemistry, Faculty of Science and Technology. I'm a senior lecturer and also a researcher in different spheres of science, specifically chemistry and other related science disciplines.
Okay, so I will start with the first question. Do you love researching? Actually, let's begin with that. Do you?
Yes, I love research. Yeah,
Why do you love researching?
because in research,
Mm-hmm.
we are able to explain different aspects in a manner that is understood by people. Number two, through research, we are able to gain insights on things that were not previously understood, why they occur the way they do. And number three, through research, we add knowledge in the field of academia. So we are generating new knowledge that will assist in understanding different aspects of life.
Okay, so I think where we come to understanding why things occur the way they occur, everyone has that curiosity, regardless of your profession, whether you're in science, you're in medicine, you're in food, you're in communication, you're everywhere. Everyone has something they want to really know, and that's how research comes in. And as they want to feed their curiosity, in which steps can they carry out the research
Okay.
from the point of idea conception to now the publication?
Okay. So maybe I'll begin with the two main aspects of research. We have quantitative research and qualitative. So depending on which aspect, there are key things that are similar. For example, number one is identification of the problem that you want to solve, or an area that you feel either has not been explained well, but you want to provide a better understanding of that particular field. So identification of the problem. Then this now will lead you to the second aspect of reading what has been done by previous researchers, so that as you read, you'll be now gaining a broader understanding of that particular topic that you have identified, and then this will assist you in coming up with your overall objective of your research. And through this, you can now break it down to the specific objectives in small, achievable tasks that will now feed into the methodology or the experimental design that you are going to employ in carrying out your research, which if you follow all that, you'll now have the data. That data will be required to be analyzed, then to be interpreted. After interpretation, now you have your final conclusions and recommendations that other people can pick from.
That's quite intriguing. I know we are trying to get answers. Then we have, how do you come up with a good question for research?
Okay, so it begins with so a good question begins with what do you intend to achieve at the end of your research? So that now the research questions, in other aspects, they call them a hypothesis. So you must maybe hypothesize what are some of the things you intend to maybe observe or learn from this particular research. And these research questions must be very specific. They must also be measurable. And are you able also to achieve them? And they must also be realistic so that you don't work in a world of unknown. And then they must also have a time frame within which you want to have achieved that. So, in other words, what I'm saying is the research questions must be smart.
Hmm. We all come back to smart. As you, after you have done all that, I know that is the pathway you need to use. And from your aspect of being a mentor in research, I would want you to identify one of the challenging steps you will say is maybe an upcoming researcher will look forward to maybe an encounter, or you have encountered you yourself the challenging steps in all these steps you've mentioned above.
Okay. So you can experience challenges in various areas. Number one, if the problem is not identified properly, then it will lead to subsequent errors, which will also lead to errors in your conclusions.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, uh, you better spend a lot of time identifying the research problem, because this becomes the gap that you want to fill by, or you want to address by carrying out that particular research. But there are also people who experience challenges when it comes to listing down the objectives.
Mm-hmm.
And these objectives must be uh, feeding into the overall, into the topic, and they must also communicate to your methodology.
Mm-hmm.
So if they are not linking either forward or backward, then there's a problem there.
Mm-hmm.
Then the other major challenge people experience is in the actual execution of the project.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is now in the methodology. So, if you are not able to list down all the steps properly, it means the these objectives will not be achieved properly. And within the methodology, if you don't carry out or collect your samples properly, especially when you are doing quantitative research, and these samples, what do you want to analyze in those particular samples? Some analytes or some parameters that you require to measure require you to analyze immediately, but others you require to preserve them up to a given duration. So if you don't understand clearly and you put the samples, then you come and analyze after some time, then you will not get the actual analyte that is present in those particular samples. And lastly, the other challenge people experience is on data analysis and interpretation. That is a key area. Most of the people, either they would subcontract other people to do the analysis for them, and then they can do the interpretation.
Which is allowed to subcontract, or
Yes, you
depending
can.
on you.
Of course, nobody knows everything, and therefore, if there is someone who can assist you to reach where you want to be faster, then you can always work with that person. But the bottom line is you must understand how that was done.
Mm-mm. Now that we are talking about subcontracting, now that we are bringing other people into our research projects, then this means we are doing collaboration and there's interdisciplinary relationship in a research project. Can you tell us your experience with now collaborations, and how do you sketch if this collaboration is beneficial to your research, and
Oh,
how has it worked for you in the past?
okay. In the current setting, most of the funders, people that fund the research, they are looking for ways of funding research that is not only, if it is chemistry, not chemistry alone, it is touching on chemistry, biology, mathematics, and so on, such that it is multidisciplinary kind of research, bringing in different experts to in order to address the different challenges that they might have identified. Uh, my experience has been not very bad, but of course there are challenges because the way maybe different people understand how they will go about a particular research is different.
Now that we've talked about subcontracting and now outsourcing personnel when it comes to research, can you explain to us or give us your experience in the recent past of how collaborations have worked in favor for your research project, and how chemistry is also interconnected or interlinked with other disciplinaries? Yes.
Okay, thank you. Chemistry is not a standalone field, and it requires the other aspects of science and uh, other aspects of expertise. For example, in a multidisciplinary kind of approach in a research, one requires to bring in each and every person that the project is going to touch. For example, if there is we require somebody from botany, somebody from zoology, physics, mathematics, because nowadays we have what is called biostatistics. And if you are doing the bioassay, you require somebody from biological sciences and also from the statistics aspect. So multidisciplinary kind of approach is where the different fields come together in order to address the problem or the research problem that has been identified. But when you talk of interdisciplinary is how now uh, the different fields interconnect with each other. So
Mm.
chemistry is able to feed in different aspects of the science. And when we are doing data analysis, a statistician is very key, who will assist you in data analysis, checking the significance differences or testing for significance in your data, which will assist you in data interpretation and so on.
Mm. Okay, so we have our research done and we have now published everything. How do we translate now this research to real world applications, giving us your success stories when it comes to research?
Okay. Most of the time, research is supposed to solve current problems and also feed in into the industry, because the industry, uh, they have a department called research and development. But unfortunately, in most of the African countries, uh, there is a missing link between academia and the industry. But we are trying to strengthen that linkages between industry and academia, so that the best researches that are done are able to be commercialized into products, which will also assist in improving the livelihood of humankind.
So you're talking about how
Modeling.
computational modeling aids in the scaling, let's say for the geothermal systems.
Okay. So the application of geochemical modeling in geothermal companies, or companies that require to use a steam in generation of electricity. Uh, One of the things that geochemical modeling does is to assist you in knowing the chemical form of the pollutants that are present, which will assist you in informing uh, the best method to use in removing those particular scales. Number two, uh, if you are able to detect the metal, the metal in its metal form, one is able to carry out metal speciation,
Mm-hmm.
and metal speciation is identifying the different chemical forms of that specific metal as it exists at that particular pH and temperature, and therefore it informs the people in geochemistry uh, which particular time they require to remove the scales, and other methods that they can use to reduce the scaling products that are present in the steam.
Mm. I think through research you become quite. They say a professor is someone who knows a lot about less and less about a lot,
Mhm.
and that is really something I would wish a younger me would have known before I got into the science field. And now speaking to the younger me, I will tell them maybe it's time they just brace up and start looking for these gaps in the market, right?
Yes.
Because I think for research is quite diverse and it's an ending process. Whether we do research daily, it will never end. And as I conclude, I will say that was my parting shot. What will be yours?
Okay. Research is a non-ending activity. Once you have because it leads to new discoveries and new information and the moment you are in research, it's like food you can't do without. So every day you think of a new problem that you want to address, and it's only that sometimes we are limited by resources for carrying out different research. But the good thing is nowadays, with the emergence of technology and artificial intelligence, one is able to do theoretical research before they even go to the aspect of actual carrying out of the experiments in the lab. And therefore, every day we learn new things and we generate new knowledge. And we look forward to maybe collaborating with any like-minded people to try and minimize the problems that exist in our day-to-day activities. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I see artificial intelligence is also showing up as we end this conversation. This is artificial intelligence hemisphere, and you can also just check out on the trending technologies that are out there on your social media account, on our social media account, as we discuss them day to day. You can follow us on Instagram at AI Kensphere KE. You can also listen to our podcast at AI Kensphere Podcast and watch our YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, comment, and share on AI Kensphere. You can read our articles on AI Kensphere by Luhunzo on LinkedIn, or alternatively, just connect to Luhunzo I Valentine. Thank you. That was our show for today. Bye.